Hello and welcome back to Sports Tavern Talk. I'm your host, Elijah Yola. For our second video today, we'll be going over the Baltimore Ravens. The Ravens last year had their season ending in heartbreak fashion after a missed field goal at the end of regulation against their division rival Pittsburgh Steelers, which caused them to miss the playoffs. Sometime after that, the Ravens fired longtime head coach John Harbaugh after 18 seasons. And then going into free agency, they had a long list of free agents that were heading out there, including tight ends Charlie Kolar and Isaiah Likely, edge David Njoku, and much more. With new head coach and former defense of the Chargers, Jesse Minter, he's got a line his plate of bringing in players, hopefully that will make an impact and certainly keep the Super Bowl window open for their team and quarterback Lamar Jackson. So let's take a look at what the Ravens did in free agency to address all the needs they have. Looking at the state of the franchise, Baltimore was pretty even in finding free agents for both sides of the ball. Starting on the offense, they re-signed Tyler Huntley to a 2-year contract to be Lamar Jackson's backup quarterback and is a viable option for the team. They also signed tight end Darren Smythe to be the tight end number 2 behind Mark Andrews, who also re-signed on a new contract. They did bring in 2 offensive linemen in center Danny Pinter and offensive lineman John Simpson to multi-year contracts to beef up the line, especially with Tyler Linderbaum leaving the team and heading to the Las Vegas Raiders. As for the defense, they signed in edge Trey Hendrickson to a massive 4-year, $112 million contract to beef up the edge position, while also bringing in some secondary rotational players in Chividia Awuzie and Jalen Hawkins. During the free agency period, the Baltimore Ravens also made a massive trade for Max Crosby, giving up their 14th overall pick in this year's draft and next year's first round selection to the Raiders. The move was going to be massive that would help them get another prolific edge rusher to help their defense out. Unfortunately, due to medical reasons, the deal fell through, and their plans to both have signed Hendrickson and trading for Crosby would have been a big help for their defense. It's sad that the Ravens couldn't get it done, but unfortunately that's how things went. It's also unclear to be sure whether or not Lamar Jackson can continue to handle leading the team to the playoffs and finally breaking through that next playoff hump where he got his first win already, but it's on to moving forward to the AFC Championship, back at it again, and getting past that round to make it all the way to the Super Bowl. It may seem like the window was closing, and in my opinion it is, but Baltimore is still looking forward ahead with the players they have to continue making that push. So let's go ahead and look at the mock draft that I set up for the Ravens that might help them in the end get to where they need to go. For this mock draft for the Ravens, they would have 11 draft picks in this draft class, while getting their first round pick back after the deal fell through for Crosby. In the first round, at pick 14, they would select Olaiva Vega Inoue, the offensive guard from Penn State. This would be a dream pick for the Ravens as their offensive line needs some work, and having a guy like this who could play all positions would really help them out. Heading into the second round, they would draft a wide receiver in Chris Brazzell II. This will be another great selection to give Lamar Jackson another speedy weapon to help play alongside Zay Flowers. Then on the third round, they would find a linebacker in Kyle Lewis, who is a good developmental player that could really learn behind Roquan Smith and play alongside him to improve their defense. They would also find a way in the fourth round to draft a defensive lineman in Chris McLean to help bring more rotational depth at the position. And then the fifth round is where they get most of the work done with 4 draft picks. They would get a tight end in Nate Borcher from Texas A&M, an edge rusher in Max Lewin from Iowa, an offensive tackle in Keenan Trost, and a second defensive lineman in Albert Regis from Texas A&M. Then between the 6th and 7th rounds, they would draft a secondary player in Jenny Candy from Oregon, another linebacker in Owen Heineke, and another interior offensive lineman for more depth at the position in Chris Adams. Certainly for the Ravens, having 11 draft picks for this year's draft is a huge bonus, especially considering all the needs they have to address in this draft that they couldn't do in free agency. For the offense, they need to find more offensive firepower for Lamar Jackson to throw to, while also retooling the entire offensive line to give Lamar Jackson better protection. And as for the defense, the secondary is their biggest strength, but it needs to work better as a unit. Not to mention, the linebacker unit could use a little bit of an upgrade for more youth and rookies to play alongside Roquan Smith, and with Justin Madubuike recovering from an injury, with him as the head, they have to retool the entire defensive line that surely struggled and in the middle of the team and at the outside positions. But for now, let's talk about a few of their player selections in this mock draft, starting off with the Penn State guard. Drafting Olaiya Vega in a way, or Vega for his short, would be a smart selection for the Baltimore Ravens. Standing at 6'4", 320 pounds, he is a pure guard with an elite ability to halt and generate movement on command. He is also a strong pass blocker who consistently holds his ground, is a stout anchor that can prevent bull rushes and pocket collapse, and has surprising speed in the run game to reach blocks and short pulls, which would be amazing for the Ravens considering that they are a run-first team with Lamar Jackson and running back Derrick Henry leading the way. He also shows outstanding discipline, only having 5 career penalties and playing over 2,300 career snaps. He has the unique versatility to play anywhere on the offensive line from tackle, guard to center, and has high football IQ with proper processing. It's no joke that the Ravens would not shy away from a player like this, which would address one of the biggest concerns for the team. And quite frankly, he can be a starting caliber player that could surely protect Lamar Jackson, giving him time to run or throw the ball against some strong defensive players like TJ Watt and Myles Garrett in the division. You also can't go wrong for the Ravens if they drafted Chris Brazzell II. Standing as a 6'4", 198-pound receiver, he is one of the longest and most physical posing players in this draft, who is a vertical threat that moves with grace and unnatural quickness. Brazzell showcases elite strength with top-end speed, freakish movements, and gravity-defying body control, with strong hand-eye coordination to go alongside that. He's also a high effective blocker with range and strength, and has a solid release package to fend off against defenders. This will be a great selection at the wide receiver spot, since it is another weak spot on the offense as well. Even though Zay Flowers had a nice year, they can't go wrong with a selection like this. This will be a clear number 2 option that Lamar Jackson can have playing on the offense, and with his size, being a run blocker is also another great thing. Even though the Ravens may not seem like a passing team, Lamar Jackson can still throw the football downfield, and certainly having a weapon like this would really stretch the field out for them. For the third draft prospect, I want to go and mention Kyle Lewis, the outside linebacker from Pitt. Kyle Lewis, as a 6', 220-pound player, is an athletic linebacker with good speed and coverage potential. With his combination of athleticism, versatility, and instinct, it makes him a very effective player in a modern NFL defense. He also has very strong developmental traits that can go well with a high motor and hard effort. The linebacker unit was somewhat okay and decent during the season, but it was led by Roquan Smith at the helm, but after that, the linebackers haven't lived up to the plate of Smith. But with a selection like Kyle Lewis, he can surely help out being the clear number 2 linebacker on their defense, making plays in the backfield and in coverage, while also having the ability to wrap up tackles well. Newly appointed head coach Jesse Minter is going to have a lot of fun with this roster. He already has pieces on both sides of the ball that are stout players and that can make game-changing plays. But if they follow the mock draft like this, they can add even more to that and make themselves push even further. My expectation for the Ravens is that they get back to their winning ways and go back on top as the AFC North champions and get a high seed in the playoffs. I would like to see them do this, and they can certainly make a push all the way to the AFC conference game. And if they do that, their destiny is in their own hands on whether or not this will be the time that Lamar Jackson will make a Super Bowl appearance. That's all the time for today. Thank you so much for watching Sports Tavern Talk. Make sure to leave a like and a comment on your thoughts for the video, and please make sure to follow me on YouTube, Instagram, and on X. And like I said in the last video, please keep an eye out, as I will be making and posting my final mock drafts on Instagram and X between today and on draft day right before it starts. And as always, I will see you next time.